My mother-in-law asked me to feed the pigs at 5 in the morning. I happily agreed. My father-in-law's dismembered body was just right to feed the newly arrived piglets. Don't waste it. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the autumn sun had not yet risen, and a breeze brought a chill along with yesterday's rain. I watched the chubby faces of the pigs in the pigsty, full of satisfaction. This is a good thing. Eat more, get fat, and sell for a good price. After feeding the pigs, I started to make breakfast. Wash the rice, put it in the pot, steam 2 sweet potatoes, chop the pickled vegetables. A farmer's breakfast is ready. The same thing happened to every daughter-in-law in the Laoshan village, happening in every family. This is a relatively poor mountainous area in Hubei, where daughters-in-law are like servants in the family, unpaid ones. After the meal was ready, I finally called my mother-in-law and husband. Eating the same things every day, getting tired of it. Make something else tomorrow. Yeah, you should make something good to nourish your man. A harmonious mother-son duo. I didn't say anything, just nodded. Tomorrow there will be something good to eat. Oh, where's your father? Didn't see him early in the morning. I don't know. I just got up. Did you see him, daughter-in-law? I shook my head indicating that I didn't see him. It's the same old look. It's annoying to look at. Yang Ha, my mother-in-law, reached out and turned my arm tightly, then scolded and left. Jiang, don't mind my mom. She's just like this. It'll bring you something delicious when I come back today. Li Jianguo reached out and patted my shoulder and left to fool around. I looked at the empty bowls on the table and thought that I wouldn't have to cook lunch today. To go clean the pigsty on the slope, I connected the water hose to the tap and dragged it into the pigsty. Since I married here 5 years ago, my family now has 20 pigs, and I have been taking care of them all the time. My mother-in-law goes out every day, and my husband helps people look after their gardens, earning only a few hundred yuan a month. Before I came, the family relied on my father-in-law's income as a village official, and now, the largest income in the family comes from selling pigs. I turned on the tap and rushed towards the pigs in the pigsty, looking at their chubby ears, fierce teeth, and the eyes full of meat. I started to hum a song. 1, 2, 3 little friends, 4, 5, 6 little friends, 7, 8 lovely little friends. I aimed the hose at the pigs in the pigsty, their heads, teeth, ears, bodies, and buttocks, cleaning every inch of their skin, watching each pig become chubby and each pigsty become clean. I was satisfied and put away the water hose to start feeding. 1 scoop, 2 scoops. Oh, why is there a finger here? Here you go. Oink oink, snore snore. Watching the piglets eat heartily, I smiled with satisfaction. When I came down from the slope, I saw a crowd gathered at my door. A few ants in the crowd were still loudly discussing. So miserable. I heard his hands were bitten off, and the lower body was bitten to pieces. Yes, I heard it was bitten by a tiger. Almost no meat left on the whole body. Nonsense, it's a wolf. Oh, after this, it's dangerous to work. Yeah, hey, don't talk about it. His daughter-in-law is back. As I approached the door, the crowd quieted down. When I closed the door, I could still hear the mixed voices outside, mixed with the crying of my mother-in-law. His daughter-in-law doesn't like to talk to us. Yeah, she looks spooky. Dead old man, why did you leave? My life is so bitter. Woo woo woo. Jianguo, from now on, you're all I have. Woo woo woo. My God, Mom, don't be sad. I'll take good care of you in the future, son. Woo woo. Mom only has you now. I looked at the mother and son in the yard taking down the baskets from their hands and placing them on the ground. Then they walked over with their heads down. Mom, Jianguo, this is. I looked at the dad lying on a broken board, with a satisfied smile in my eyes, but unfortunately, he didn't lift his head to appreciate it. You, the jinx, you killed your father. You jinx. She seemed to have finally found a target to vent her anger, blaming everything on me. The withered hands were like the sharp claws of a beast, fiercely scratching my arms. Mom, this has nothing to do with Jiang. She went to feed the pigs early in the morning. I looked at Li Jianguo blocking me in front of me, with no touch in his eyes. And now the most important thing is to bury Dad properly. Do we need Jiang's help? Hearing Li Jianguo say this, my scolding mother-in-law stopped and then directed me to go to the kitchen to cook. According to the local customs, when someone dies, there should be a grand 3-day feast. So my mother-in-law went out to find people to help, whether it's ordering a coffin or finding someone to prepare the the feast, so she didn't come back until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And Li Jianguo was not at home either. I looked at the empty yard without a person, and went into the kitchen to cook. The sky after the rain was as clear as a dark blue gem, and smoke rose from the stove, exuding a worldly atmosphere. The tranquility of Laoshan village was broken by a string of police sirens. Yang Hua is dead. This afternoon's heavy rain caused a landslide on a section of the road near Laoshan village, and Yang Hua was the unfortunate one, dug out by the police when he had long stopped breathing. I didn't expect this sarcastic woman to die in this way, not the way I arranged for her to die. Really unlucky. Who was Yang Hua's family? 2 police officers followed by a large crowd of onlookers knocked on my house door. I wiped my wet hands and walked out with my head down. I am Yang Hua's daughter-in-law. What happened to my mother-in-law? Looking at the woman in front of me, who was nodding her head and bowing, the police officer's tone softened involuntarily. Well, your mother-in-law Yang Hua encountered a mudslide and unfortunately passed away. I stood in front of my mother-in-law's body, bowing my head, appearing to be a grieving daughter-in-law, and in the eyes of others, only I knew that if I raised my head, the hostility in my eyes would be unstoppable. How could she die like this? It's really too cheap for her. Oh my God. Their family is so miserable. 2 people died in a row. Who is it? Why didn't we see their son? The parents died, and he's nowhere to be found. Who knows where he went? You guys all know their son, right? Listening to the whispers of the villagers around, the police only then realized that 2 people in this household had passed away within a short span of 1 day. The young police officer nodded beside me and said, "Big sister, please accept my condolences. I'm fine. Could you please help carry my mother-in-law inside?" My husband is not at home. I raised my hand to wipe away non-existent tears on my face, and quietly sought help from the police in front of me. For someone like me, a member of the vulnerable group, they were naturally very willing to help. Not only did they help me carry my mother-in-law's body inside the house, but they also brought in my father-in-law's body from the yard, which was wet from the rain. Watching the police reject my invitation for them to stay for a meal and drive away, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. The young police officer, looking at the expressionless woman standing under the tree, always felt an indescribable chill around her. She's just a country girl. How could she be like this? What are you muttering about, kid? Nothing, master. Just feel that this daughter-in-law is pitiful. Hemp rope chooses a thin place to break. Misfortune finds those who suffer. Life is like this, alas. What a pity. By the time Li Jianguo returned, it was already the 3rd day. What awaited him was a house filled with white and 2 coffins placed in the living room. Mom, what happened to you? Mom, get up. I looked at the man who was crying and hugging Yang Hua's coffin, his eyes filled with mockery. At this moment, he knew he had been exposed. His father died, and the son cared only about the funeral funds. His mother died, and the son was nowhere to be found. When everything was arranged by others, the son came out to show filial piety. What an irony. Jianguo, Mom is gone. Why did you come back so late? Where did you go with my crying? Everyone in the yard looked over for this suddenly appeared son. Evrion's eyes were full of disdain in watching his show. After all, in their small place, Evrion's view of Li Jianguo was that of a good-for-nothing living off his parents. Who would have thought this dependent would not even preside over his parents' funeral, and instead went out to fool around? Even the money for the funeral was borrowed against the pigs on the hill. Your mom encountered a mudslide when she went out, and was buried underneath. The police brought her back. Why did you come back so late? Sob. The woman's weeping voice, reflecting the man's bewildered face, drew discussions from the crowd. All the blame and pity were directed at the man in this emotional moment. I kept my head down, listening to the cold-blooded criticisms and discussions about Li Jianguo in the crowd, a faint smile playing at the corners of my mouth. Although there were some unexpected events, things were still progressing in the direction I planned. Jianguo, as your uncle, I have to say, it's really unacceptable for you. Your parents passed away, and you were fooling around outside. Simply outrageous. Yes, your wife had to come to us, a few old men, to help organize the funeral. You really let down your parents. They worked hard all their lives, hoping you'd take care of them in their old age. And so, the funeral, under the condemnation of Li Jianguo, hastily came to an end. Death never stops, and life must go on. This funeral, where both parents passed away, caused a small ripple only as a topic for gossip in Lashan village, without much impact. But for Li Jianguo, his life had undergone a radical change. In one night, both parents passed away, leaving behind only a daughter-in-law, who couldn't stand on her own, and the rumors in the village. Now, Every time he went out, he could hear people gossiping behind him. Unfilial son, Jinx, heartless, every day walking on the road, he could feel people pointing fingers at him. Even his usual friends no longer paid him any attention. Everyone kept their distance, afraid to come into contact with him. For the first time in his life, Li Jiangguo felt what loneliness was. Fortunately, he had his wife accompanying him. Jiangguo, I just made chicken soup. Bring more, okay? Thank you, wife. I looked at the man who had become much gentler during this time. A glimmer of light flashing in his eyes. The rumors and gazes from people outside during this time made Li Jiangguo become much more silent. His temper also changed a lot, and the biggest issue was that he began to fear going out. He would give money and ask me to buy whatever was needed. Now, he stayed indoors every day, playing games and surfing the internet. Bang! I watched the man fall to the ground, and silently took out the rope I had prepared long ago to tie him up. Then I took out a small cart used for pushing pig feed, placed him on it, and covered him with a layer of pig straw. I pushed the cart slowly towards the pigsty on the hill. Jiang, feeding the pigs again. Oh, today there's quite a lot of pig straw. The little piglets at home have grown a lot again. I just fed them a little more. Where did Aunt Wang go? She went to pick vegetables in the field. You go ahead, Jiang. Goodbye. After the casual encounter, I continued to push the cart toward the pigsty on the hill. Almost every family in this area raised pigs, and the pigsty was located on their own hills, except for family members. No one else would come. I fixed Li Jiangguo on a wooden board in the storage room, carefully selecting tools from the wall. Li Jiangguo woke up amidst a series of friction sounds, seeing the woman sharpening a knife in front of him and his limbs unable to move. He felt an inexplicable panic. Wife, what are you doing? Let me go quickly. I looked at the man trembling in fear in front of me, raising the pig slaughtering knife in my hand, and gently rubbing it against his face. Approaching his ear, I whispered softly, I'm not your wife. I'm your sister Tilda.